And hello, everyone. How are you doing? Michelle Lance joining us right now. She is the CEO of the Greater Lansing Food Bank, which covers a very broad area. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Dave. It's great to be with you.
And the reason I reached out to you is, and you may have seen it, I think you did, a video maybe a month ago or 2, 3 weeks ago about, I believe it was in Harrison, Michigan, Clare County, a long line of cars to pick up food in the community. And the video got millions of views. You saw that video?
I did. Yes, I did.
Was that scene from that day, was that rare?
No, actually, that unfortunately is a monthly scene that we have in Clare County and then in many of the other counties that we serve. So Greater Lansing Food Bank covers 7 counties, all the way down to Lansing area and then all the way up to Clare County. So the one in Clare, and we call those mobile food distributions. And what that means is we bring a semi-truck of food, a variety of food, canned items, fresh items, meats, dairy, for the people who are in need in that region. So in the case of the one that's in Harrison, that is a monthly mobile distribution. We are now serving 450 households in Harrison alone. And we have about 20 to 25 mobile food distributions like it around our territory every single month. So the need is incredibly high right now. And actually, Clare County has the highest food insecurity rate of any county in Michigan at about 18.3%.
Wow.
So most people think that like a metro area, like a Detroit, Wayne County would have the highest. It's actually the rural counties that are the highest in food insecurity.
Why is that? Because there's not as money. I mean, you drive in Metro Detroit and there's just so much thing. Is it because it's very rural and there's not a lot of services, or is that just because of the amount of resources?
Yeah, you're right on. The resources are fewer and far between. And also the job opportunities in a rural community are much less. And the jobs that are there tend to be minimum wage without the benefit of having like health insurance and other things that you then have to pay for out of pocket yourself. So there's less dollars to go around for things like food because you're paying for more things in your household budget.
Okay, it makes sense. And I want to clear up several things. I put out that video just to let people know that, you know, there are people suffering, and if you can donate, go ahead and do so. Some people were like, well, why are they driving nice cars? Some people were commenting, but my dad told me a long time ago never to assume, because the people driving those cars, you talked earlier before we started recording, that may be a family or a friend or a neighbor picking up food for someone who's homebound, right? Or something.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In a lot of cases, the folks who are in need of food don't have transportation themselves. So they have a proxy that comes to pick up food for them. And sometimes those proxies will pick up 3 or 4 families at a time and take them back. So they're delivering the food. They're basically volunteering to deliver the food to people who are in need. The other thing that sometimes happens is, somebody who has a vehicle all of a sudden loses their job, or there is a major medical emergency in their family, and all of a sudden the income that they had coming in, the car might be paid for, the income they have coming in is no longer. And so even though they have a nice looking car, that does not mean their income is still steady.
As we all know, is one big medical whatever it may happen, especially if you don't have insurance. But even if you do have insurance, one big medical incident can change a family significantly financially.
Yeah, we see that all the time. And a lot of those, they're heartbreaking stories, right? So we will see them come to a mobile like this, or even a pantry for the very first time with that story. And that's where we walk them through. They'll say, I've never had to do this before. This is really uncomfortable. There's actually, Dave, a lot of stigma that goes along with asking for food. So people don't come out if they really don't need it, because there's that stigma there.
Yeah, exactly. How long have you been the CEO, or have you been involved in this work? How long?
So I've been CEO for 4.5 years.
Okay. Over your 4.5 years doing this, is it up and down the help, or is it just constant or ups and downs, or?
So I started about 6 months before the pandemic hit. And prior to the pandemic, things would ebb and flow just based on the economy. So, back in 2008 with the financial crisis, we saw very, very high numbers of food insecurity, leveled off a little bit over time. The pandemic hit. We had a lot of people out of jobs, a lot of medical emergencies. So the number skyrocketed at that point again. We also had stimulus dollars, though, that were coming out at that point, helping people financially. So the numbers leveled off, fortunately, during that time. About a year ago, February, almost all the stimulus dollars, were all gone, right? They ended. And so we saw numbers start to skyrocket again. So in 2023, we saw a 30 to 35% increase in the number of households coming out to get food during that 12-month period.
In the areas that you cover, that whole 7-county area.
Yeah, and that's actually the national average right now, not even just in our region or in Michigan. That's what we're seeing around the nation. So food banks, there's 200 of us around the nation. We keep very close contact with each other, and the numbers that we're all reporting is between 30 and 35% increase in households because of the economy.
And it's not that some people think of, and they don't know the world, they think, oh, homeless. No, people may be homeless, but they may have homes, but literally they're not. I mean, it goes between, with prices going up and so forth, they're having to choose between food or keeping the heat on. You probably heard those stories too, probably.
Every day. Yeah. And just think of what the housing costs have done in the last 2 years, right? People can't afford to buy a house. Rent has gone up. Housing costs have gone up. And so they're spending more of their monthly budget, their monthly income on those items and not having much left over for food. And we know food costs have skyrocketed since the pandemic as well, partly because of the supply chain issue to start with. But usually when inflation hits and costs of something rise, they never go back down to the level that they were at before. So we're still seeing inflated prices.
Yeah, I wish they would go back to, I think we would all think that. So, okay. So for people, like myself, how can we help? And I told you, I want to take my family there to help out as well, especially so my children can see and volunteer. But how can people help out? Can they donate? Can they volunteer in person? What's the advice you have?
Yeah, I always like to say there are 3 primary ways to get involved in any type of nonprofit or cause that you want to become involved in. And with food banks, it's the same. So the first obviously is donating, and you can donate either food or funds. Food always is wonderful for us to get. The funds we can turn into a 3-to-1 ratio though. So for example, if you give $1, we can buy 3 meals with that $1 because we're buying at economies of scale, right? We have more leverage. Where you might be able to buy 1 can of food for $1, we can buy 3 meals. So giving dollars is the best way to go. But we also will take food as well. The second way to get involved is to volunteer. And there's lots of volunteer opportunities all around the state of Michigan, the nation for this. We have in-house volunteer opportunities right at our warehouse. So food banks are a warehouse and distribution center. And we touch almost every product that comes in the door and has to go back out the door. We repackage it into smaller quantities because we're getting food by the pallet loads. Households can't take a pallet full of corn, right? So we package them into smaller quantities, get them out the door. And then the video that you posted at the mobile food distribution, we have volunteers on site there helping to take the food from the trucks and put it right in the vehicles of those who are coming, those who are in need. Okay. So those are a few different ways. The other thing you can do is if you know somebody who is food insecure, a lot of times people don't want to ask for the help. Yeah. Or you might have a senior parent or neighbor who can't get the help. Offer to assist, offer to be that proxy if you can, or offer to take them. There's a lot of dignity that is involved in going and receiving food when you have people surrounding you that are helpful to you. And, then you get there and those folks who are volunteering and helping, it really can be a lovely process for something that actually is a traumatic time in somebody's life. So you can volunteer on a number of fronts.
What is the website? Is it greaterlansingfoodbank.org?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
That's our website. Mhm.
Okay, so anything there they can go, but obviously, because I have viewers all over the country, and you would support if someone's watching in North Carolina, contact their local. You could probably just Google it, food bank, food pantry locally, and help out wherever you're at.
Yes, that is exactly right. Yep. Find your closest one, especially for volunteering. You're not going to want to travel to Michigan if you're in a different state. So find your closest one, and you'll be able to help out.
Okay, I appreciate it. I just wanted to bring you on because I know some people were being negative about that video, and I would just to bring to light that people do need help, and um, that if we can all join in, because I think despite what social media says, I think most people are good people, and I think they want to help. So that's just why I wanted to get the word out.
Yes, and I appreciate that too. And I think one other thing to remember is that at any moment in time, any one of us who currently has a job and is in a good situation can fall on hard times for no reason, even that was something that you did, right? Like a medical emergency. So be careful not to place judgment because you don't know what that situation is. And let's hope none of us have to face it. But if we do, the food banking network is out there to assist.
Yeah, and put yourself in those shoes because I'm helping today, but I'm the one who may need that help 2 months from now. And like you said, God hope I don't. But yeah, because you never know what's going to happen in this world. Like I said, there's people probably that the stories you have, you could probably write a book with the stories you've been told by people that are sad. But I'm great. You're doing the work and all the volunteers as well. And I'll keep updated. I'll put the links to all of this to your organization in the video. And I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for caring as well and wanting to get to the bottom of the story, right?
Yeah.
We appreciate just the exposure and the education that you're helping to give, to what's going on right now in the communities.